Says you're live.
Okay. I'm ready, Ken.
Okay, we're going to call the meeting of the Street Committee, Bridges, to order. We're going to have a roll call tonight. Tammy?
Here.
Mark?
Here.
Ken? I'm here. Now, is the mayor in attendance tonight?
Yeah, he's just getting on. So his audio is still loading. So he'll be here. So
Nikki's in attendance, right?
yes. There's the mayor. So okay. All right. So you got to do the approval of the minutes next. So
Say that again.
you got to do the minutes next. Approval of the minutes of March 12th.
Okay. Didn't we approve them at the last meeting?
No, you haven't had a meeting since March 12th.
Oh, no wonder. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
And
Okay.
I'll second it.
The meetings
All in
Minutes.
favor?
are approved. As we have to have an approval of
You just all in favor.
all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Mark and Ken, aye. They are approved. And next we will have the approval of the agenda as published.
And I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as published.
And
Second.
Mark seconds that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now tonight we had on there discussion items.
Mhm.
Are there any items that we need to discuss tonight?
Yeah, the 2020 street paving is on the list.
Ken, I'll go ahead and kick that off. I'm assuming Nikki's on as well, and I'm hopeful that the committee members, got two emails this afternoon. One would be a map. It's kind of hard to read through the pad at that size. And then another is more of a list of the proposed paving list for later this year.
I didn't get a map. I didn't see it.
I didn't send the map. I can email that to Julie real quick though, and
I
Yeah,
she can share it on her screen.
Yep.
Okay. Excuse me, I got the sniffles. But while we're doing that, I guess we met today, and Andy Munnis had a list. The good news is it was very similar to the list that I'd looked at, Nikki had looked at, or roads that we had targeted. So kind of, I guess, to start the discussion, if you have those, yeah, there it is. Boy, that's a handwritten note if there ever was one.
But it's easy to read.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, thanks.
So that's what we've got. It's a little bit more maybe than we could we can afford it, but it's going to push us, and we'll have to be using not only funds dedicated for streets, but we'll probably continue to have to use some of the capital improvements fund. But
I got a question on Edward Street.
basic
Tom.
functions. So go ahead, anybody, just sort of take a look and comment on it.
On Edward Street,
Yeah.
isn't there an awful lot of underground that needs done before we pave that? Like storm sewer?
Well, yeah, yes. But I guess I was asked a couple weeks ago, Mark, and you usually either listen to those live streams live or catch up later. And I kind of made a wise guy answer to that. And of course, I had to go out and look to see. And especially from Norr Road to Cummings, it doesn't pass the, would you want to live where that was your street test. It's in very rough shape, and sort of embarrassed I wasn't being mean or too serious about not paving Edwards, but you go out there, you got to do it. Now, the issue of can we put in storm sewer? I don't see that at this time. This is an overdue overlay is what I think that cost represents. I wouldn't mill it. And we didn't talk much about which of these streets the cost includes milling and what is just asphalt overlay. So, did you see that, Nikki, whether or not some of these costs include the asphalt, just the asphalt, or which one?
I think I don't hold me to this, Tom, but I think when Andy does his calculations, it is for milling and, putting back an 1.5 inches or 2 inches.
Yeah, okay.
He puts the milling in his calculation, but.
Well, I'll make the same people on Edward Street mad again tonight. I'm not in favor of milling it. I do pavement repair and just put 1.5 inches over it. And when the time comes, is a crappy way to say it, but once we get done with the storm sewer projects, from where we're building to the east, kind of on the east side of Hardingway, south side of Hardingway and Hardingway East, Edwards definitely, it needs, maybe not curbing, but it needs something more than what they have for active drainage. So. And if you haven't heard enough from me on Edward Street, from east to the dead end, the T intersection right in front of Galleon LLC, it's not nearly in as rough a condition. But by the same token, there are two major industries that use that. Their employees use it a lot. And so the way it's scoped or proposed, it goes all the way to East Street. So that's the first one. All right, and y'all can read the list. It's a combo of low average daily traffic and some of our more heavily traveled thoroughfares, or secondary streets rather.
Tom, this is Ken Bodkins. I'm kind of concerned about the Parsons Street, though my business is on Parsons. I don't see anything wrong with that street. Can you tell me what brought that one into effect here?
It came from the street department world. It's from the tracks to South Street.
Right.
I think, and maybe the other part of it is we paved the rest of Railroad. Last year, the year before, maybe it's comes from there as a well, let's get that other block fixed. But that's why it didn't get done 2 years ago, Ken, is because it wasn't as bad a shape as that section from Market down to Boston.
Okay. I was concerned about Parsons. The only thing I see wrong with it as far as holes is the water drainage on that road. Those are really set low. Is that going to be ground down before it's paved any, or is it just going to be overpaved?
Yeah. I don't think these are overlays. That's what Nikki was saying. That looks like that cost, the price, just, I would say that has milling in it as well as the asphalt.
Okay, that'd be a good deal that way.
Yeah. Let me see what else. Any other thoughts or comments? These are not either alphabetical or in any kind of order of preference, actually.
And Tom, I just did confirm with Andy, all of them include milling and a 2-inch course put back.
Well,
Okay.
I'll cheapen that up. Andy wants to fix them right. We'll take care of that. But anyway, that's where the estimate comes from. Well, once you go out and drive these, you guys, you'll probably the issue of whether to mill them or not, you would probably come back from that little road trip with an opinion about whether, yeah, we have to mill it, usually because of curb reveal or other reasons, versus just patch it and overlay it. So my thoughts are on this list, and then Harding Way from, city limit to city limit. That would be our resurfacing program, those two projects. So if you would go out and take a look at them, the timing of this, there's going to be some finance committee work between now and the time that we would probably need to get this passed. So I think it can either go on next Tuesday as a first reading, but it probably, we should wait to get the finances that would be able to fund this all in place. And that would likely not happen till the second meeting in July.
One of these years, we have to look at doing from Fairview around the corner by the old Gled Hill.
Yeah. Oh, Bloomer.
At Bloomer, and underneath East Church, underneath the bridge is terrible.
It's really crappy, Mark. You're right. And what we just as a kind of a trade-off is you're going to do Washington all around there. If you look at that from the heart, from Payne to under the overpass and then out to Harding Way, and then yet it's going to butt up against that East Church Street that's under the overpass.
Right.
So that'd be a stark contrast, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah.
30 foot of good pavement, and then
Yeah, I know. It makes you look like you're trying to be stupid. So that's why I wanted to discuss it, y'all. Is there's some that need to be, we need some feedback on it. It's a really good idea. Bloomer, there's some civic involved neighbors in that area that have been championing resurfacing Bloomer for quite a while. And, it's a little bit like Fellow Street in that the condition of the road's pretty bad, but the daily traffic's pretty low. So
if you look at the traffic on there, really, it's really a shortcut.
I know.
As long as there's not a train.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, it is a shortcut under the overpass, and so you got Nick. I'm sure Nikki wrote that down. We'll take a look at it. The point, especially on Church, from Washington to the tracks, that's pretty bad.
Real bad.
Yep.
Copied down before the meeting started, and I know all these areas, so I can kind of agree that they do need some looking after. That's for sure.
Yeah, a couple that are close, but I don't even know why exactly. And I think probably because they're in my neighborhood, so I get real nervous about that. And there's two of them actually. I think Erie, down in kind of in your neighborhood, Ken, from Union to Sherman, especially. And I imagine the people on that west end of Erie would say, well, ours is pretty bad too. So Erie Streets, maybe one of the next ones that would, if we changed out something or decided not to not to mill, then we could probably add in another block or two of just paving. So that's one. And then Rosewood in my neighborhood, it gets, for a dead end, it gets a lot of traffic, largely as it relates to the nursing home and the apartments down towards the end of there. It's gotten to be in pretty bad shape. So that, because it has a concrete base, that would definitely, we'll have to mill that off and then pave over that exposed concrete with asphalt. So those are two that come to mind that, better luck next year or something like that.
Well, I've always thought that, we can't please everybody, but we sure try hard to. That's the main thing.
Yeah, we got a lot of miles of pavement in there when you add them all up, and Yeah, I would, people would be critical. There are a lot of 2-block and 3-block segments, couple 1-block segments, but we started out our conversation today with Andy and Nikki and myself. I just don't think we're in a position where we can, pave streets from end to end. We're still, we still have pretty limited resources. So anyway, that's what I got for that.
Anybody have anything about street paving? Any more comments? If not, we'll go into the traffic study, and we'll probably have to let tell us about this.
Nikki, what are we talking about here?
I don't know. I don't.
Oh, I know what it is. It's my fault. I told Matt to list it that way. It's Boston, North Boston, or South Boston, excuse me. That traffic light.
Oh,
There was a letter that was sent in a week ago. Got it on a week ago Monday. I brought it up and discussing it in the live stream the other night. And what I wanted to do is bring it to the committee kind of officially to discuss whether or not there was any sentiment in favor of taking down that Boston street light. And if we want to do that, one of the things we would have to do before ODOT would be comfortable with it is to do a traffic study to see if it's continues to be warranted.
I got a question. Why is that? Why is there a question on that? Because that's an on-call light.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think we've had a lot of trouble with that lately, Mark. Not a lot, but we've had a couple times when we had to go down there and reset it. And we may have, we may want to bring in Baldwin and Sowers or one of those light street light companies and have them look to make sure that the signal timing is still synchronized the way it's supposed to be from back in 2003.
That light is that when that was set up, Tom,
Yeah,
the square was on its own. The Y at First Federal, that was on its own. Four Corners was on its own. The rest of Harding Way is on call. So
yeah.
when you pull up on a side street, the light will change.
Yeah, and I think what that
Otherwise, Main Street stays green.
right, that's a progressive signaling. That one at Boston is the complaint. Then the question was raised, why do we need it all? You'll remember probably, some other folks will, that largely the reason that was included in that big ODOT signal job was because of the school-related traffic. The middle school was still there. So the numbers as to whether the traffic justifies a traffic signal or not is what if we decide to do a traffic study to see whether or not that's continues to be necessary. But that's where the issue came from, a citizen complaint and a discussion about whether or not we want to study taking that signal down or leave well enough alone and make sure the mechanism and the timing between the signals is still working right.
I would hate to see that traffic light come down with Rite Aid right there, because there's a lot of stop traffic and people do slow down, and a lot of elderly people use that. So
Yep.
Don't go as fast, you know.
I
It's a little dangerous. I don't know if we want to have a survey done on that one. It basically, I think it is not a bad signal. It's not that bad. You don't have to wait that long.
okay.
That's my opinion, okay?
Well, I think I'm hearing Mark saying that he'd leave well enough alone too, aren't you?
Yes, I am, Tom. There used to be a computer down in the cop shop.
Yep.
That was hooked to all the traffic lights.
Yep.
I believe that computer died years ago.
Well, that's, yeah, I wouldn't argue that. And then it limits what that very expensive signal system was designed to do. So it's come up. I get it. The simple way would be to study it and take it down and either not use it or put it somewhere else. At the committee level, council doesn't want to do that. So I think that that ends the discussion, and like going and tracking down how interrelated those signals are. I didn't know that the computer died and they're kind of on their own.
Well,
And-
you,
They just got the loop detector, right?
Tammy?
yeah, Tom, you had mentioned something about maybe being able to check the timing on it or something. You
Yeah.
had said we were having some trouble. Would you still be able to just do that? Just maybe check the
Yeah.
timing on it?
Yeah, that's what we've been doing. Nikki might remember offhand or be able to estimate. We've been down there 2 or 3 times because it wants to go on flash, or we've had problems with the stop bar or the loop detector that Mark was describing that automatically calls the light to change. We've had some problems with that. So it's news to me that computer that was the heart of the big ODOT system died, and we've just kind of got it operating independently. I'll check on that.
It was, just so you know, it was downstairs in the dispatcher's room in a little closet. And
Okay.
that line went out that side of the building and connected to that loop right there at Liberty and
Yeah.
Hardway.
Okay.
So there was a modem out there, the computer, I don't know. That's been long.
Yeah, I bet it has. It's like it was 03 when we built the project, because I can remember wrestling that thing to the ground. We were all I didn't particularly like the engineering on it. Got into it, Phil Hunzi, and seems like a lifetime ago. But the city and the state put a lot of money in that. We ought to make sure that we're getting all we can out of it.
When the computer finally died, I put the Mark system on the computer at the line department,
Okay.
and I could call Dave Sowers down there at Baldwin Sowers,
Uh-huh.
and we could do the adjustments that way. It seemed
Okay.
like nobody up there wanted to take care of that computer. Is why I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't. Yeah. Well, we'll get on it. I didn't know that. Thanks, Mark. Seriously, that's a lot of information for us to catch up on. It all happened when Chief Satterfield was already here, correct?
Yeah, and Sigenthal was in charge of all the computers then.
Okay. Well, I'll ask Brian, and maybe we'll reach back into Ken's memory.
And
Sigenthal's, Ken, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Right.
Tom, committee members, I'd like to comment that being a chairperson of the street and alleys and so forth, I have not yet got one call about a street issue from any. Have had about 6 people call me about alley situations, and I'm going to turn those into Nikki as soon as I get them all together. And it's nothing serious, just they want to know when we can patch them up. So I said, if you bring me some fill, I'll do it myself. And I thought, well, who knows if that's a good idea either. But it's hard to address the streets when no one says anything.
Well,
Yeah, maybe they're happy with it. Wouldn't that be a?
I know.
I don't know. I tell you, the only thing I'd say in response to that, Ken, is that when I went to get my driver's license renewed, I had to sit there for a long time, and there were a handful of galleon people there, and nearly everyone complained about the $20 license plate tax. So,
Well,
heck of that is it. While I know it's frustrating and does add to that license cost, or the license plate cost, $20 doesn't go real far.
No.
So that's why, it's only of that 500,000 or so that we're talking about putting in the paving program. It supplies only, gosh, about 270,000 of that 500,000. So,
Yeah.
anyway. All right. Well, on the alleys, since you mentioned it, we've got a little bit of a slow start, but we fully intend to, in a more systematic way, get an alley restoration yet this summer.
On
Not only-
that topic, Tom, Andy
Pardon?
told me today that they started on that this week. They have a list of about 30 alleys that they're trying to hit. So my guess is, Ken, that number might grow after you send me what you have, but they are getting a start on it this week finally.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's
Hey,
great.
Ken, we
Yeah.
have on the Facebook page, we have some streets and alleys that are being suggested. Would you like me to mention those?
Sure.
Okay, we've have Pounder Avenue mentioned.
Yep. It was brought up today too.
Okay, and then we have the alley on Gledell. I think that's near the mayor.
Yeah, I think that's not on the list. There's a storm sewer and pavement repair job that's not on this list. But it's in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, they were talking about that alley, yeah, so.
Well-
Someone mentioned North Market, but I did point out to them that it was on the list and they saw the list,
Oh, I
so.
thought you meant for paving, Julie. The alley behind there?
Yeah, the alley off of Gledell, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
It's from a Darcy, so
Okay.
that's all that I've gotten on here.
All right, well, that's good. I mean, they come in, maybe that says, Ken, that we did a pretty good job of picking. Pounder and Fellow were two, and then Mark mentioned Church under the overpass and Bloomer. Those are probably the three as close to having funding for.
Right.
Probably near the cut, if you will, so.
Okay.
The milling cost does add a lot, and I would say if there's no curb on some of these streets, there's no reason to mill them for the most part. So it's not universally true, but if we've already lost the curb, or there was never any curb to begin with, like Fairview, there's no curb to begin with, or Market, we'll mill that to get more of a leveling course so that when we put the asphalt on, but it's not, there's no curb as you go out that really bad section from Hetrick to Polk Township line. To me, that's one of the worst ones. And then when you get into 21 and 22, when we're rebuilding Portland Way, that will become a major, both Fairview and Market will be how people get around Portland Way. So anticipating that as well as Market needing done. So anyway, that's what we got.
We just had alleys off of Clymer and Grove mentioned, so those may be already on the list.
Yeah, right. Yep, we're aware of that, and I would be surprised that one, since it came up, there's a story behind the story where the alley isn't exactly where the property lines are.
Yeah, I grew up in that area, I remember.
Huh?
I grew up right there on Clymer, I know.
So there, so where you would drive on in some parts of that area that was just described, you're actually driving the person's property, and the roadway for the most part is a little bit to the roadway on the property maps is a little bit off to where the road actually is. All right. Well, anyways.
Is there any more comments on this tonight?
Nope, that's all I've gotten so far, so.
Have you got any hard
Yeah.
amount you're gonna get from the gas tax this year?
Yeah, I think we're at about 40%. at 50% of revenue. So if you look at in the revenue report in the 201 is where that's at, you'll see it's about 40%. So I expect it to be about 80% of what we projected. So we'll be off 20%. I think what that amounts to is probably right around as much in 2020 as in 2019, but the 2019 had half the year of the rate increase, the cents per gallon tax. So our yield is going to be off about 20%, but the estimate year to year, but the estimate's going to be down a little bit more than that. And I don't guess it's not, that's the driving's not coming back. I mean, we haven't seen that in terms of gas tax sales. So anyways, good question. I have trouble like we all do. If we're working off our iPad, I can't get to the reports at the same time, but I'll touch base with you tomorrow, highlight that and send it to you where we are in revenue. Okay.
Thanks.
That's the puniest of all our revenues. I think we've talked about that before in different committee meetings. Gas taxes, the weakest.
Julie, if I turn in the information I have about some people that complained about smell, can we get to that before the next meeting maybe? So we can, I'd like to roll around and look at some of this stuff and see what the complaint really is. Because some of them, I don't see much of a complaint there. I do go look.
Yeah.
I think
I
it's
would
a good,
almost compare it to Nikki's list. If it's already on the list, you may not want to,
okay.
may already be on the list.
Like something and make sure I know what's going on. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
So other than that, it's not a matter of life or death, Julie. So
Okay. Yeah. You give me the list, I can get it to Nikki and we can compare and see if they're already on the list.
I've only got 3 or 4. Just individuals have a complaint about an alleyway behind their homes and so forth.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any comments, Mayor? Do you have anything else to say?
I'm good.
Okay. Well, our next meeting then will be August 13th at 7.
Yeah.
And I guess now we'll need a motion to adjourn if there's no more business.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Wait, Tammy?
Oh, she's muted.
All the way.
That's- So you don't hear Chloe in the background through the whole meeting.
Okay.
When is the next meeting? August
13.
13th. Okay, I've got it. I'll
Okay.
second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Okay. 7:35.
Yep,
Good
thank
job,
you.
Kenny.
Oh, no way. Thank you. Bye, Julie.
Bye.